Hi, I'm Tlish, and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. I hope you enjoy my content, and if you do, you should smash that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. And don't forget to follow the link tree in the description of this video in order to be redirected into my various media outlets like Facebook, Discord, and Patreon. So that's found in the description of this video. You should go check it out. I hope you're enjoying your day, and I hope you enjoy today's episode of Coffee and Clicks. Don't forget, wake up and smell the clicks. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Tlish, and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. Today we are welcoming Jay Solomon from the popular JSAClix Podcast. Hi, Jay. How's everything going?
I didn't know we were popular, but I'm good.
Okay. So I mean, I'm gonna jump right in and start the interview. I'm just gonna start by asking, how did you get into HeroClix in the very beginning?
I actually used to not really be into comics nearly as much. Basically, uh, my friend who named Emmanuel Abitbol from Toronto basically got me in high school, and the first time I went with him to a venue just after Incredible Hulk came out and watched him play some games. I remember back then we had different name generics. We had the yellow costume ones with Perplex, not as good as the ones we have now, but basically watched him play that, and then played Galactic Guardian Sealed, and my first game was against Tom Kerr, so that kind of that was kind of a good hook. So yeah, and ironically, since then, my friend has not played very much at all. He's been in law school and stuff. So and his mom would joke that I became a judge before he became a lawyer. So that's about it. Not very complicated.
And so, I mean, are you into comic books now, or?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wasn't not before, but it's easier to know which to read, and sometimes there's just characters that come out that are interesting that I would not have thought I would have cared about otherwise and whatnot. So yeah.
And in your history of playing HeroClix, well, are you part of a team, a particular team, or have you been part of like a HeroClix team, like Clicks Off or?
Um, I mean, it's less a team as much as a general all the Canadians will play together, or what they would have called Married to the Click Extended Crew, because there was, Jason and Amber on, obviously, and I guess it's funny to do this interview right now as opposed to later. But yeah, basically Jason Amber, and then the people on the Meta Lab. So Mike White, Tom Kerr, Mike Payne at the time, Emily, Devin Owens, and whatnot. And we even have some friends from Ottawa. But basically, general Canadian conglomerate. But like, it didn't really feel like there was much of a team dynamic going, just because there wasn't that much team building, and it was more Jason and Amber aren't quite Toronto, and basically, like, I mean, we're all friends, but it didn't have that team feeling. So basically, that's why I ended up starting the JSAClix. I can't remember if it was supposed to be a podcast. I think it ended up being a team, and then it kind of turned into a podcast somehow. Basically,
What does that actually
so
stand for, JSA Clicks?
it was I like the JSA, and then I wanted to figure out an acronym for what that stood for, and I kind of decided on one, but it was kind of just that was what I wanted to do. I think the decision ended up being the justification acronym was J and Superior Associates. I think
Okay.
was what I settled on. It was more to force it.
Yeah, because it sounds like I thought it was your name. I thought it was like J Solomon Associates or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the other one. Yeah, it's yeah, it's but no, it was more. It was start and then force it later. So nothing really too clever.
Cool. And so I mean, you've been playing with those guys, and do you have any particular builds that you're really proud of in the past, or something that you really stands out to you as being a favorite build, team build?
Um, I mean, the two off the top of my head, the two builds that I remember enjoying and having success with were not builds that I made. I had Avengers themed Quinjet that Aaron Cantu made. Um, that was it was yeah. So it was basically Quinjet, the Fast Forces cap that could move people. Jarvis. He initially put Jewel on the team from Age of Ultron, but I did Red Wing instead. Little robot one for the movie, and I can't remember the other piece. But basically, just a dedicated Quinjet build.
Okay, and that's with the ID cards with the. Is that
Yeah,
with the
yeah, like
Ultron?
full
Yeah.
9 ID cards, and that one I placed. I placed top 4 with that one at the U.S. Cup that Kevin Fruz won with Mr. Pitlick and Frogman and whatnot. And actually, my game with him in the or the top 4, it's on video. You can find it on YouTube under the Majestics YouTube channel, and it came down to I literally because it was last round, so we took like a minute to like figure out the exact proper positioning. But I think I needed to roll 7 to win. But yeah, so top 4 there, and then Adam Freeman made a team with both of the Super Jokers from Joker's Wild to both the Killing Joke, Camera Joker, and the Haha Joker. Before you couldn't mastermind, and that one I placed second at Nevada State, which was won by Tony Rodriguez, and then I won. There was a consolation tournament for people who didn't make Rock Cup, so I did that. And I'm sure there's builds I've made. Just those stand out more. I guess I was having a reasonable amount of success with. You can find the team as a picture on my. It was a Facebook cover photo I had. Basically, just a cosmic. It was a cosmic plus 10 with four Floras, Mangog, Groot, Dark Phoenix, Q, Mr. Oz, and Lockjaw. Just a lot of annoying cosmic stuff, and anybody who I played against hates Floras, and I would almost always win map because plus 10 gets you auto win against non-theme, and Flashpoint Flood Floras is obnoxious. So,
well, I hate Floras just because they don't stand up, basically.
yeah, that is Thankfully, online solves that because that was a pandemic tournaments a lot, but. I mean, also just anything with Q, because as far as I know, I was the first person to play Q in any event, so pretty much Q. So it feels bad because at one point it feels bad that Q has become less than playable because just on principle of how good he is and on principle of how much money I paid for him, it kind of feels bad, but not gonna throw away games.
Why do you think he's not playable? You're talking about 30
or not playable, but yeah, just Black Widow's recruits with poison and Black Vulcan and Captain Marvel can ping him. There's just too many. Not try Sentinel as much, but there's just a lot of It's just. I mean, at the time where the team was Black Widow, coming in your face, it was just not really a thing that you could do. So
yeah. So I understand that.
I don't know. We'll
basically,
see.
Basically, it becomes like 30 points of free for your opponent.
Right. It's not an asset at that point. It's a liability. So
yeah. But have you ever played? I think I saw Dan Powell or somebody play Q at 175 for some tournament. Might have been just.
Yeah. I remember Dan trying it. No, I've never even thought about it. It just, if you could equip him with running shot, I don't see it. I think he won the first round. I think that was probably a tournament where if you didn't win all your games, you didn't win anything. So I think he went 1-1 and then probably dropped, or I can't remember, but I never even thought about it.
Okay. And I mean, so those are kind of like builds and figures that you are kind of your favorites. But what about like favorite moments or memorable moments as being a head judge? Because I mean, you're known for being a judge, and have you ever had any memorable moments or funny moments when judging, or what's your experience with judging overall?
It's just generally a good time, whether or not it's a WizKids event, because I've done an Origins and the one Memphis Worlds. It's just, I don't know. It's, I would say, depending on the environment, it could be more fun to watch than judge, or just fun to be able to watch good players and not play badly and lose anyway. Um, I think everybody would expect me to say the HeroClix players thing, which basically came down to people did not want to. I mean, it wasn't as pretty funny, but that just came down to people did not want to seem to let the tournament go on, so that had to happen. Trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, it's not necessarily one moment. It's just a generally fun time. Although there was at Memphis, there was all the judges did a battle royal, and that was fun. Um, I'm sure there's something, but it just doesn't really feel like it's just a generally good experience. I don't know if there's a specific highlight necessarily.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I mean, I have some friends that I'm actually teaching on Roll 20 now because with COVID and everything can't get together. But I'm teaching them how to play from scratch from Roll 20, and it's a kind of fun being the guy that you go to for the rules and everything, right? And then like judging them. We have like little tournaments and stuff, and I'm kind of like the judge for them. But I don't mean to assume that I know. I'm definitely not well versed in the rules as like most of the like you are or anybody that judges like for real. But I understand that kind of feeling of like enjoying kind of presiding over a tournament and judging it and kind of watching. I do find that to be fun. I mean, it's different from playing, but it's it's a good experience.
Yeah, it's definitely yeah. There's times where you are very. There was one time I remember specifically, Canadian Nationals 2018, the one that PJ won. I remember I was watching Devin, who then won the next one, but basically, Devin went undefeated in Swiss, including beating basically in the course of the events he had beaten PJ in Swiss, and then PJ went on to win the event and he beat Kenji, and then when he played at AB in the top 8, it was hilarious the number of things that he messed up. Like he put ID cards too far out and they disappeared, or basically I told him I felt like I needed to actually project into his body. And even after all that, like I don't think there was just a bunch of little mistakes. And then at the end of it, he still could have won if he rolled a little bit better. And then he otherwise would have played the same people he already beat and won. Or not that he would have beat them the second time, but that was like the big, like watching people when you're judging and seeing them mess up is just really frustrating. But
Yeah.
he came around eventually and wanted to do a similar event, so it's fine.
And so like, how do you become a judge? I mean, obviously you need to know the rules really well and read the rule book. I mean, I know people are always reminding others on Facebook, read the rule book, especially if you're a new player. Read the rule book, read the pack. But how do you what's like the process of becoming a judge? I mean, both at Rock or WizKids level, and what would be like the benefits of being a judge? Are like compared to being a player.
I mean, I guess it depends on what level you mean. It's a local level. If your venue needs a judge, then just talk to the store or whatever. I mean, you can take the rock judge test if you want. It just doesn't really accomplish anything, especially because the background checks never ended up actually happening. So like, there isn't really a process. I mean, with WizKids, it was basically I had friends, both Robin and Jeremiah Peterson, who basically recommended me to be a volunteer. And even then, the first Origins I did, and the Worlds at PAX I did demoing for board games. Then eventually, so it's just yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to know the right people. And for rock stuff, it just kind of ended up happening. I would have never said that I was so good at the rules. I still or such a specific expert at the rules. I probably still wouldn't say that, but it just kind of started happening, and
Then as things come up in the
yeah,
games,
you
you
just
just
know people. Yeah, or when Pat left the job, he'd already known me well, and I worked that event as a judge for him, and I wrote for him, so he ended up recommending me. It
who was
actually
that?
ended up bringing
Pat
me in a
Pat.
judge. Hmm.
Who was that?
Yeah,
Pat
Pat Yaboko,
Pat
and
Yapoko. Okay.
yeah, basically it's just if you want to get the knowledge level, yeah, just there's just not much you can do besides read the rules and ask questions and yeah, but so otherwise sometimes you just need to know the right people, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, also judge events so that they know you're a good judge, but yeah,
Yeah, because I
that's
saw
just
that
kind
I
of how it
saw
works.
I saw that thing about the Rock Judge test, and I didn't know how that worked or like what the benefit. Like, do you get? I know that they were mentioning like if you're a
Oh
judge,
yeah,
you get
so
certain.
it's you get if you know about the judge points program, where depending on how many events you play and how many, yeah, so or yes, the Rock has a it's called the judge points program, I think, where you get a certain number of points for what kind of event you judge, how many players were at the event, stuff like that. Then there's like tiers of what you get, and then you get points. You get some points for that when you get the judge test. And there's a little judge pin. It's yeah, it's but and the actual test is there's just a bunch of questions. There's like multiple choice, open-ended answer and stuff like that. You do it over video chat, closed book. Not really much to it.
Okay.
Wouldn't I also? I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy. Like I've had people. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's also not hard. Off the top of my head, people mostly don't pass on three or one or two or three questions. So
Okay.
yeah, just basically 35 questions, I think now. You have to get an 80% to pass. So
Okay.
yeah.
And so um now you're doing instead of judging you're working on your current project is and the the JSAClix podcast. Um,
Yeah.
what was your inspiration for that podcast or that show, and like what are your goals for the show? And also if there's anything you want to promote, you can promote that for sure.
Um I guess I don't know if there was a specific inspiration. I know I have friends that are on it that have never been on shows before. Uh, Devin at one point was like on the Meta Lab, some like as a guest or Adam Friedman. Basically, I happen to have a bunch of people that wouldn't be on podcasts otherwise, like Adam Friedman and Chad and Devin, or and also like people like Adam and Jesse are more well versed in the Majestic's Bronze Age or essentially Golden Age format. So having that, it's just I like the idea of being able to do episodes on every format, including casual. So it's just a good mix of people, and but otherwise not a particular inspiration. And the goals are just, I mean, if we can get episodes that everybody likes, that's good. And I mean, I don't know what goals can look like for a podcast besides getting WizKids unboxings and previews and sometimes sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to promote is working on a charity tournament. It's going to be, we're just waiting on some confirmation of pricing and other stuff. The format's going to be Captain America, the Avengers Sealed online. We have somebody, Jay Patel, who figured out how to do it on Roll20. They're opening the packs and whatnot, and that is going to be raising funds for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Oh, so it's
So
a
we did lose a HeroClix player earlier this year.
yeah.
So that's all I would want to plug.
And is that's a sealed tournament? When is that?
Or yeah, I working on the details. Not sure, sooner than later, but just have to hammer out the details before I can confirm a date.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely. I hope everybody is paying attention to those details. I'll definitely be interested in that myself for sure. It's
Yeah, I noticed you had one as well.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I have
or
a
you had a different charity, but
yeah. My charity is different. I mean, because I'm myself, I'm epileptic, so for me, it's just hits home, and it's for the Epilepsy Foundation, um, charity for epilepsy research for the Epilepsy Foundation, and 100% of
mm-hmm.
the entry fee donations go to charity. I have two Majestic kits for prizing, so that includes the Agents Lobby and the Clock Tower. And as many people sign up for that, the format for that is CUR Pauper, which I put a poll up on my page to see what people would think, and that's what they voted for. So that's Pauper. It's basically traditional Pauper circuit rules, except for also allowing rare game elements. So like Dark Phoenix, or that's the big one that comes to my mind. But there's a lot of rare stuff that's really good out there that you can use. So that's my tournament, and it's going to be January 16th.
Yeah, one to goes in Highlanders seem reasonable. It's not like you're playing that many of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, yeah, the only thing I guess the only other thing I would mention about the tournament, I guess this wasn't public yet, but among other things that I have for myself as prizing, I believe I'm going to be getting donations. But among other things, these are bigger ticket items and are pending. I had to figure out a certain amount of attendance or a certain amount of donations that I would need, but hopefully I get them anyway. But I have I have a JLU Chase Prime set from compensation from the Rock Nationals, and I also have a King's Tomb Blood Map variant that I'm going to be throwing in.
Nice.
Both pending actual numbers in attendance, so
Yeah,
figured actually it would be a good time to mention it and people get it out there.
yeah. I hope everybody signs up. That's a wonderful cause for sure. Um, and I mean, also I wanted to ask you about your show. So, like, what types of episodes do you normally do on your show? I mean, you do a lot of reviews, like set reviews and things
Yeah.
like that. Like, what other types of shows or like formats for shows? Like for me, I do mostly interviews, but I also do some reviews. I do. I'm looking to record more games. Like, what are some things that you're trying to do?
We've done so we've done. I mean, our episode numbers are filled up with the set reviews because those are we do each category of rarity as a separate episode. But yeah, we've done full set reviews for. Have to get them all up now. We recorded chases yesterday for House of X, but yeah, we've done set reviews. We've done competitive, just general competitive episodes. Like I did one with Tom and Joji and Emily just after the Nationals event where Joe plays second, and we did a build with Spider-Man Carnage for casual, and I'm planning a similar episode for House of X, and I have one very special guest that I'll get to when I confirm a date, and I already have the formats planned for like a whole bunch of different formats planned for the end of year episode, and hoping to do more casual and maybe some bronze, and yeah, it's just a mix of mostly competitive related stuff, but trying to work in some casual. I'm sure there's something else I'm totally forgetting, but
So when you say casual format, what do you mean by that? I mean, do you yourself play casual HeroClix a lot, or
less than funnily enough, less than I used to because the venue that I judge at is basically only most of the time it's four people. It's me, Devin, Emily, and Mike White all from Toronto, and we'll always put casual stipulations, but we'll always just bring our competitive teams and practice with them unless somebody comes that wants to play casual. But yeah, I do play casual, and at this point, because I don't play competitive as much, my collection has been less focused on having to get all the competitive stuff. But no, I play a lot of casual, especially because a lot of stuff. I mean, there's some characters that I want to play that are either only pre-carded or somehow are better. Like the JSA Sandman, there's a pre-carded unique, and there's the Joker's Wild one. I think the older one is better. So, but yeah, definitely a fair amount of casual going on.
Okay, so when you play casual, you usually make it Golden Age, and
Yeah, I don't ever see a reason to not. So yeah, I mean, generally, I don't see the point in playing casual 300. It just seems limited. But yeah, yeah, we'll generally do 400, 500, maybe 600, Golden Age. Basic. Nobody would bring the game elements, but there's been times where like one random person would come in who's not a usual, who's not never been there, but is not a regular. So by default, I have to put on the event stipulations like resources are banned and stuff like that. So just no real specific hard rules other than resources or whatever. But yeah, or I mean, if we were playing in the venue, we'd be running the 12 Days of Christmas scenario Jeremiah Peterson's venue has, or nothing really specific.
What is a 12 Days of Christmas scenario? Because that actually.
Oh yeah, so that
like
okay.
That.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Jeremiah posted his team for that, but basically that is, if you want theme, you have to play specific characters that fit specific categories. And I guess I may as well take a quick second to look it up because it's a very interesting scenario. You still have to have theme normally, but you also have to fit specific categories or specific requirements. Let's see. Where is it?
I think this would be fun for people trying to come up with Christmas type scenarios and builds.
Yeah,
coming up pretty soon.
Look up 12 Geese of Land. Come on. Okay, so 12 drummer. This isn't. They've added more possible requirements, but this is from last year. 12 drummers was Flurry, 11 pipers is Mind Control, 10 lords of leaping, sidestep leap climber, some improved movement. That's not from combat symbol. 9 ladies dancing, a female character. 8 maids milking is supporter poison. 7 swans swimming is dolphin symbol or similar, or name wars count because they never get it. 6 geese is earthbound or defend. Golden rings is a ring or jewelry or some sort of wearable weapon. Calling for 4 calling birds is a bird themed costume or name. French hens is non-American, which is kind of funny because that's basically everybody. Or that's like having to play based on a non-American in Canada is kind of funny, but it wouldn't really make sense to do a non-Canadian character. Turtle doves is 2 characters on 1 dial, or that make bystanders, and then a partridge is a unique or prime. And then I could just take a quick second to pull up one of the teams I built.
So you have to have 12 characters?
Yeah, you have to fit all the categories. Where is it? Come on. Okay, here. I can't remember what the categories were that this fit, but I played JSA team of. I had to kind of defeat the purpose of the event by having Pogs fit the 2 requirements, but you couldn't find them. So for Flurry, I had to do the random Flurry bystander from TMNT4, the boxing bot, and then Dolphin. I think there's literally no dolphins. Navy Seaman, Hog from Fear Itself. I guess Jakeem was my prime. Superman, Kingdom Come Superman from World's Finest was something. Spectre from Joker's Wild, Power Woman, Joker's Wild, Green Lantern, Harley Quinn, Dr. Midnight, Harley Quinn set Wonder Woman, OP original monthly OP kit from years and years ago, Black Canary, the Running Shop Pulse Wave 1, Red Tornado from Harley Quinn, and Hawkman, Hawkgirl.
This
I
is all
mean,
Justice League theme, so it still fits.
Justice Society, yeah. I
Justice
mean, I'm
Society.
assuming Hawks were birds, Shaquem was the Prime. There's one woman in there. Superman could be the non-American, I guess, or Power Woman. Yeah. Oh no, I guess it was Hawks were the duo, Canary was the bird, Power Woman was a woman. Wonder Woman for Sidestep. Oh, I guess Red Tornado is wearable weapon because she has a helmet. Yeah, so just a bunch of. It's easier and harder to build with than you'd think. Like, unfortunately, when we played that particular team, Devin was playing X-Men, and basically the only option for a Dolphin was Darwin. Okay. That felt bad. I think we basically ended up agreeing that I wouldn't use the pick because Jakeem's pick of power is mandatory, but because it was a casual game, I think we agreed that I would never use the trade, and then Darwin wouldn't deal me unavoidable damage every turn. So, yeah, it's a very fun scenario, and I think I don't know if he won the event, but Jeremiah he mentioned playing a Brotherhood of Mutants.
So that was actually played at an event at a store.
Yeah. It's his venue game night. Their judge Brad made that format, and I mean I stole it, but yeah, they run it every year.
And how long do the games take? Or is it just a normal 50
also it's 1,000-point game. I think they just do a normal timer. Okay. Yeah, normally I stay away from those unless it's a limited action. Like we'll do 1,000 points, 5 actions. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be even then. Like I think one of the games I played last year. Not with this. What did I play? I can't remember what I played last year for this. I think I don't know. Last year I played a Gotham City themed team, including apparently playing Solomon Grundy from Slosh was a mistake because he's very possible to take down very quickly at a 1,000-point game. But yeah, I remember one of those games was like 4 turns for each of us, maybe. So, but if you want to fit 12 characters in, 1,000 points is kind of necessary. But it is a very fun format, and I don't know if anybody has time now to steal the form or play the format, but you can message Jeremiah and he'll give you the details.
Sure, yeah. And so also, I mean, now talking about like more competitive play, or even we could talk about casual too. But I mean, House of X is going to be released on December 30th, and what are your thoughts on House of X? Do you like the set? And I wanted to ask you if we could go through our favorite commons, uncommons, rares, super rares, and chases from House of X, not counting the primes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best prime is obvious anyway, but I'm a hard sell on X-Men sets because I'm not into any proper like X-Men proper stuff. The stuff I'm into is more out there sort of stuff. Like I do enjoy the Uncanny X-Force runs, so the one with we've got the lineup a couple times. At the time, he was Dark Angel or Archangel, Psylocke, Phantom X, Deadpool, and Wolverine. That's where the gray costume for Deadpool comes from. But that was a fun run. Or, I mean, we're never going to get an Exile sub-theme in Hero books, but that's like the big one. That's one of my favorite books, the original. I actually haven't read the newer run much, but we did get the Peggy Carter from there. But point being that X-Men sets are just a hard sell for me in general. Not that I dislike them, but it's just not a property I'm into. But I still always do find stuff.
What is your favorite kind of a property? I mean, do you like are you DC or Marvel? And what?
Not more DC, but not dislike Marvel, but just it is just more DC.
Oh, that makes sense.
That there's
a lot of
I find that there's a lot of DC only or Marvel only, but I feel like I've seen a bunch of DC only. So yeah, my favorite team would be overall JSA. Favorite character would be Green Lantern. did that Green Lantern. Favorite Marvel character is Spider-Man. Probably because growing up, I mean, I born in 1994, so seeing those first Spider-Man movies were probably some of the movies that I remember watching, just in general. But yeah, favorite Marvel character would be Spider-Man, and then
Yeah, I see we both have Spider-Man posters.
oh yeah, I do have yeah, I have Spider-Man.
We have
I have
matching
Black Panther.
Spider-Mans.
Yeah, I have yeah, Spider-Man, bunch of Justice League in the middle. I have Alex Ross inspired Justice League over there. Um, I mean, I don't know if you can see the Black Panther poster, but I didn't put up the Black Panther and Miles posters because of Black Lives Matter stuff, but it kind of just worked out that way. So I don't know. You can see the Justice League poster has Vixen and Black Lightning, so it felt more right. But I would have, I mean, I would have done the Miles one anyway, and Black Panther one anyway. But yeah, otherwise, favorite teams include the Exiles. Basically, if I like it, it doesn't have a great showing in HeroClix. So JSA, Exiles, Defenders. Um, Funnily enough, the Defenders team ability and JSA team ability are the same. But yeah, I mean, the main ones that are actually playable are JSA, Spider-Man stuff, and sometimes Defenders if they actually handle the team ability.
Yeah, I mean Defenders are cool too. I like them. I don't even know. I don't know if I know the Exiles. Who is that? That's
The original run was Blink, Mimic, who we haven't had since Mutation and Monsters, Morph, who I think we also haven't had since Mutations and Monsters, a female version of Sunfire who's gay, a version of Magneto or Magnus who died in the first issue, and I can't remember. Um, there was a version of Magic who got in later, didn't quite have the same costume, but that's the reason we have her with Exiles. 2099 came in much later, but I mean, yeah, the main missing ones of like the lineup that I think of are that Sunfire and Morph, and I guess we haven't seen Mimic in forever.
yeah. All right.
The newer run, the newer run, it was Peggy Cap came in a little like just a little bit later. Blank, Unseen brought them together actually, but I think he probably came out in HeroClix too early to have the keyword. Not that they would have remembered it. Oh, I'm mad at Tyler that he didn't give it to Juggernaut, but
Oh.
yeah, but yeah, the current run is I can't remember if it's a male version of Kamala Khan, but a version of Kamala Khan, an Old West cowboy version of Black Panther, and off the top of my head, it's Valkyrie. It's a version of Valkyrie that basically looks exactly like the movie version. Off the top of my head, at least from the beginning of the comic, I'm looking forward to seeing more of those. And I still don't know. I don't know why Miles Prime has it, but based on the keywords, it looks like it was a mix-up between a 2099 that didn't happen or something. I still don't know why Dark Beast ever gets it, because there was a version of Beast who had it, and he did have a more Pharaoh look. But I've done my research. I have no idea why certain characters get it in the game, or why so many Primes get it. But yeah,
Well, let's look at House of X. I'm gonna share my screen and just show you. I mean, I'm gonna go on Clicks Nexus because they also have the newly previewed maggot that was created by Joe Pangrazio and was it who was
Devin
on
and Richard Leo.
Devon and Richard Leo? They were both on his team. So that was 2018 Team Nationals. They created maggot. He's fully updated with the entire set on Clicks Nexus.
Yeah, we just don't have some team up cards, but otherwise, yeah, the actual main set. He was very, very quick.
And so, House of X. What are your opinions on the commons? My favorite personally. I mean, I like Trinary, and I like the Wolverine. The Wolverine's really cool.
Just 1 second. Oh. Speaker, microphone. I realized I didn't switch my microphone to the good one, although yours is still better. Um, I guess I mean, I could do both competitive and casual, but I don't know what you had in mind.
Yeah, do both competitive and casual. Sounds good.
Yeah, my casual pick is very biased. Would be the Beast, specifically because he has the team up card where he doesn't have defenders printed, but he gives himself Angel and Iceman the defender's keyword and team ability, which is weird because Angel and Iceman are not really proper defenders. They were both defenders for a day, but I just like the trio of them because they just tend to be on teams together. Like they were all original X-Men, all X Factor. They all just kind of are together at the same time. It's also funny because I mean, we had the Angel with defenders that just retired from Xavier's school, and we had the more well-known Iceman, the UXM one, who I have on my desk right now from the Hanukkah picture that I took. But yeah, that Beast for casual, definitely not competitive. I would probably Trinary is a good pick. I would say that the best for me would be Dr. Aaliyah Gregor, the one who gives bystanders +1 to their stats, which is crazy good.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about for uncommons?
Um, my uncommon pick. It's hard to say which is the best because they're all kind of medium, but yeah, Forge Chamber and Moira X. I don't know. They're all just kind of. Forge is probably the best one. He's the one that has the free action unique modifier for increasing attack and damage, and it's also a burst. Um, he also, I mean, he has Soldier with works of 76 and Scientist if you want to go that direction. But yeah, probably Forge for competitive and for casual. Probably aim Sunspot just because that was an overdue. We hadn't seen a Sunspot, but that was definitely an overdue version because we got all the other aim Avengers stuff.
Yeah, I mean the ones that I liked for uncommons, probably the uncommon Zorn. I like both the prime and the non-prime Zorn, and I also like Emma Frost, because I think she's probably one of the better Krakoan um, figures because of Vulture. So she
Yeah,
gives.
that's fair.
Um, and then for rares, let's see.
Um,
Rares is a tough one for me.
yeah, I would say the most competitive rare is the Magneto.
I
That's
would
the
agree. I would agree. I like the Magneto for both casual and competitive actually.
Yeah, that's fair. I like I like Professor X has Illuminati. Um, yeah, that's probably yeah. I mean, he's not the best, but I do. Unfortunately, since we started getting Professor X's with or mutants with other keywords instead, the the animated one is just not good.
Yeah.
But I am partial to the really old one, the GSX Fast Forces one, who gives shape change out to friendlies basically. Uh, Not that great, and this new one isn't perfect, but I am a fan. Oh yeah, he has an Illuminati theme team one. I forgot about that. If you have 1+, opposing characters can't have their combat values positively modified. I do generally like the Illuminati, although it's kind of weird because a lot of the time they just have Avengers, so you're just because their character's missing it, you're probably just better off running Avengers. Like, oh yeah, I think we finally, for the first time, got a Beast with it. So
Yeah, with Illuminati. Yeah, we got a beast with
yeah, it took
Illuminati.
long enough.
And like the Professor X when the rare from Xavier School came out, that was my favorite Professor X, but he did not have the Illuminati keyword. And
Yeah, sadly.
I also like it when they have Shi'ar keyword on Professor X. I think that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a nice option. Even I'm not a huge, I don't really care either way, but it's definitely a fun option to have.
And
I
then
well, that's the thing. I am generally my general. I mean, I do custom dials on Realms. Sometimes they have like dial design contests, but generally, I like to just put as many keywords as possible. Like it just feels like unless it's a very very specific version, I just
right.
like
to do that, and especially when there's characters that are just less frequently made. My point is that he has a lot of keywords. I don't know where I was going with it.
No, I agree. I like figures to have lots of keywords. I mean, it's just
yeah. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell whether keywords come into effect for points or like in the point formula, but a lot of time it feels like why not?
right.
Almost like I said, it's an extremely specific version. Like you're not going to give Age of Apocalypse the X-Men keyword or whatever. Also, I just feel like, we didn't get that specific version yet. That's crazy. Although my personal pick for what version was missing was the Evan version, but he also came from or was heavily involved in that X-Force run, so that's me being biased. But
yeah. It's funny. I've never actually made a custom dial on Realms. I've looked into. I don't know exactly how to do it. Like, is there like a tool that you can actually?
So if you look in units, like right under the bar of the sets, there's another little bar. There's a thing for your collections have wants coming soon. I don't know what that is, but near the very right, there's a dial generator tool. Let me screen share for a second, just
okay.
If anybody else wants to. It says host disabled attendee.
Hold on. Go ahead.
So you're doing it for me?
No, you could do it.
Oh, okay.
I unlocked it.
Chrome. Hopefully it works. Is that working?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see all the sets, and then like I said, it's just right here.
Oh, dial
where Fantastic
tool.
Four. Yeah, okay. So then you click it, and then it basically gives you name, real name, collector number, rank, cost, team abilities. And if you want to pick more than one, you have to control click, and then here you put in the stats and stuff. Like, let me pull up. Let me see if I can find it. I'll pull up one that I did for the contest. I didn't do it yet. So I'm just fine tuning it, but just for reference, that this is one I did. I did a Spectre, because on the dial design contest they do specific parameters each for the weeks. So they did what's the first week? But they were all holiday related, and I guess because of Ghost or Christmas Past or whatever, they did non-corporeal. So Spectre made sense. That was one that I did.
So there is a dial design contest that they have? Or?
Yeah. Every month they do. You used to win stuff? Yeah, the original ones that they did monthly were done by Dial H, actually. But then the guy who was doing that left the show, and now they're just for fun. Although there was one recent one where the person that running it is does one of the people that ran it did Kari Sampson draws, and he made sketches for people, and he actually ended up making me I did an Atom Smash, or I repeated an Atom Smash that I did for an article, but then he made me a little Atom Smasher sketch. Cool. But generally those are just for fun.
And is there like a database of all the designed dials, the custom designed dials that people have made, like a kind of like a
there's a section in Realms. Yeah, Realms has a creative corner section, and I guess I'll screen share that. No.
I mean, do you ever print out have you?
Oh, no. I know people have said that they have a way to do it, but yeah. So you go in the forums area. This is the area there I go to do unit submissions if I'm doing those. So general, and then general discussion, rules, news stuff, and then creative corner here. So you can see my friend, or here, the dial design contest. So rounds, yeah. So they did you make a character based on fitting a requirement of one of the 12 Days of Christmas things, and then I did Birds of Prey for birds. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, if you just want, I mean, people do full sets. Like my friend does like full sets all the time. People do a bunch of different random sets. We pull up just very quickly. This is the list of all the sets that he's made himself. It's a lot. So, but yeah, just if you want to just check those out, that's
Yeah, those are
essentially-
cool. Actually, with Roll20 too, I imagine you could make a token in Roll20 with like a custom character.
Oh yeah, you very well could. Just as long as you agree that. Well, the one thing I don't like is the idea that people like expect you to put a point value in. I don't think there's a value to it because it's just kind of a guess. But otherwise, yeah, I guess you'd have to figure out a point value for games if you wanted to. But yeah, you very well could, especially these days.
And so, oh yeah, so
I think
going back
were on
to
super rares, yeah.
Yeah, we're on super rares.
Yeah.
So super rares. I have no. There's a lot of good super rares here. I like Maggot. I like Juggernaut. I mean, I like the super rare Apocalypse. I like Cape Pride. So I had a little trouble figuring out which were my favorites, but those are probably my 4 standouts for super.
Yeah, this one I would have to if it was limited to one. I would have to cheat. I'm not going to screen share that. You know, fine. I guess I keep on screen sharing my
Okay.
Realms threads.
Yeah. Here.
Where was I? Okay, screen share Chrome. Actually, I'll do 2. Just because these are actually good tools for people to have if they don't know that they exist. Son of a gun. So I have, and I don't know if people know about the inline dial function of Realms, but it shows. Okay, gosh darn it. This matters quickly. Like you can do the inline dial, like you could quote a figure there. So if you go to Nightcrawler, as an example, you'll see if it loads, if it chooses to load, so you'll see like all the dial, and then it'll show all the threads that it was quoted in. Is my thread actually not show? That's kind of defeats the point, but like, yeah, you could just, point being that I thought that my figure would be in that, but I have a champion designed figures thread, so you can see like, oh, Maggot has to be added on there, but point being, I mean, I vary into champ pieces. I try and get them signed when possible. Unfortunately,
Now, did you
Hawkman
win?
and Hawkgirl, what?
Did you win a championship where you were?
Oh
able
no,
to
no, no!
design a
I
piece?
didn't. I just generally enjoy the dials all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the time, I guess, yeah, Juggernaut feels a lot like this in Maggot. Sometimes it just feels like there are characters that you have to get a fan's design on. Like obviously, you know, because that's to balance it for the game, but I feel like just a lot of the time, like. I'm not the guy who says that Spider-Man is ever underpowered, but his powers just happen to, it's very, you have to make it work. Or I know Devin would design Emma Frost, but even then she's kind of, you have to be very specific, or you have to incorporate her powers and probably do a shifting focus. But point being that my picks would be Maggot and Juggernaut, especially because, I mean, it just so happens that I'm only mentioning this because Richard Leo chose to mention it on my podcast, but I ended up getting that team together. It was basically, there were 7 Canadians at the event, so they ended up making 2 teams of 3, and then Devin definitely knew people from the event, or knew way less people at the event, so I gave him to Joe, and I actually played with Joe myself. I played with me, Joe, and my one other random Toronto friend who didn't really know people. Who, if people remember the guy that placed really well with Evil Deadpool at 2017 Worlds, that's him. So Joe chose to not win the event with me, but he chose to win it with somebody else. But I am very partial to fan pieces. Like I would say, I would say the Hawkman and Hawkgirl are my favorite just dial of all time. So that kind of worked out. And then I would say so. They bring move and attack to the JSA, which isn't as common a thing. The side step repositioning is a lot. Atwood is good. They feel like exactly what the characters should be. And the only problem is that the designers are kind of people, like random people that nobody knows, and I can't even find them on Facebook, so that's never going to be signed. The only thing I want to pull up is I have a thread of basically all the characters that there's give keywords that gain keywords from other characters and characters that don't break themes. That's just a useful thing to have if you're looking for that tool.
Okay. Yeah.
But point being, Juggernaut and Maggot. Maggot, Juggernaut feels like kind of like the GSX version that was pretty close, but he feels like it pretty much exactly right. Like not being able to gain a mobile is exactly right. Reducing, the helmet trait. Like I know we've sometimes gotten ones where you can get the helmet off, but the helmet mechanic is exactly right, and it's all just about there. And Maggot, near as I can tell, the design was pretty much right on point for the character, and it's a weird character. And I'm glad that my friends got to make it. I'm good friends with Devin and Joe. I don't know Richard as well, but talked to him a lot more recently, especially with when Maggot actually came out and stuff. So,
well, if you,
also, a lot of the supers aren't characters that I even remotely would care about. So it just happens to work out that way.
Okay. If you got to design your own cliques, like let's say you won Worlds or won Nationals or something, would you choose to design something that's more obscure that hasn't been clicked, or would you design something that's like one of your favorite characters?
My top two, I don't think I know. Okay, no. Let me just give you. None of them are. One of them would be more obscure, but like anybody knows, we would know that Atom Smasher would be my number one. I can pull out I had a custom or a repaint made by my friend locally, Emmanuel. Does repaints and what not sometimes. He did Eugene Torbett Witterspan, who funnily enough could have been a proxy dial for me. But basically, number one will be Atom Smasher, just because I don't know. He's been made, but he's pre-card. I don't know why, because he could have been made in JLU. He was in JLU. He's even referenced by name in the he is one of the Justice League members who fights the Suicide Squad in that one episode.
Okay, I remember that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Where
literally
like a heist episode with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the way they steal they steal the Greek armor. But basically, Deadshot says like, "What the hell's going on? Nobody told me that Atom Smasher would be here." But basically, he could have been in it. And my Brahm's profile picture was from JLU, was him, Vigilante, and Shining Knight at one point. And the other two got made. But yeah, number one will be Atom Smasher. Number two will be Jay Garrick Flash, because the original one with 20 speed was cool, but it's more, I don't know. I don't feel like he's ever been made quite right. Like the one from Joker's Squad was neat, but he didn't have a defense power when he had hypersonic, and then when he had super senses, he had a blank dial otherwise. So he would be cool. And also, there's not enough or barely any leadership in the JSA, which is weird because they specifically have a chairman or chairperson, like it's a thing, like who leads the team. And then the probably the Sunfire that I mentioned, she's probably one of the more obscure ones. I don't think she would ever get made other. That's the other thing I like about champ pieces, that they get the you get the ones that nobody would ever make. Like just looking at the list quickly, Beta Ray Bill wasn't made a lot, or wasn't really made ever at that point, even 5 years or 6 years. Stargirl, Shriek, Devil Dinosaur from Next Wave, that was never going to get made otherwise. So, but yeah, it would be mostly characters that don't get made or would otherwise not be remade. More from Exiles would be another one. I'm sure there's a fifth. I don't think I could do a Spider-Man as he should be, or as I think he will be able to be. I don't think I have that, so I don't think I have a fifth. But
what are your thoughts on WizKids making up their own characters, like with the Spider-Man Venom Carnage set?
It is a neat idea, and I believe Kenny mentioned that WizKid Marvel actually adopted one of the characters. They adopted Miles West as their own character, but I think his name in the comics is Webslinger.
Webslinger, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool idea. it's kind of weird that they ended up mostly lining up with the weird chases from Iron Man. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a neat idea. I don't mind the idea. Not even necessarily based on Marvel or whatever adopting those characters, but I don't see why not. It's fun. I didn't, it. I mean, yeah. If you can tell somebody that the character came from the game and then made it into a comic, that's pretty cool.
And so, all right, so let's take a look at the chases. I mean, that's so. What is your favorite chase from the set?
It's
I mean, we got Old Man Phoenix.
yeah, it's not a great rarity for me. I mean, Old Man Phoenix was came from a King Thor book, which is neat. I'm not big a fan of the dial. It probably is. I mean, Krakoa is obviously competitive, but probably binary, just because the last time we got her as binary, it was just bad. So it's cool to have a different version of Captain Marvel, just doing more space shooting and stuff. I mean, she'd always have cosmic, but Starjammers is cool because there's not that many of them to begin with. Like, yeah,
Oh, she
from
does
this
have the
set.
Starjammers. Okay, I didn't even
Yep,
notice that.
because basically that was after the subject matter of the story is not great for. I mean, I don't know how family friendly you are, but
Oh, family friendly. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. What?
I mean, basically, sexual assault happens, and the Avengers didn't do anything about it, and it was bad. And then Chris Claremont wrote a story after where he basically had her call them out for being just bad. But basically, she just was not happy with the Avengers.
Okay.
So that kind of, yeah, that was where I went binary. But I do like the dial, and it is neat to have a version. I mean, it's weird that a hypersonic running shot pulse wave sort of piece is more casual. I don't. In addition, I don't know. After all the competitive, I just don't feel like I would never. The other Captain Marvel isn't a dial I would ever play, but I do quite enjoy the idea of this one. And also, just X-Men would be accurate, and I like it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That,
Well,
binary.
also the fact that her power set in the movies are kind of closer to this. Like in her movie, when she goes all out, she kind of just goes full like energy blast mode, not like punching people mode. So it's kind of neat that is more what she looks like there.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I'm not 100% crazy about her dial, but I mean, what do you think about her dial? It's like, no, she's good. She's good. I mean, she has.
Yeah, she's gonna be your casual temple, and that's pretty much it. I mean, cosmic's a good keyword, but she's not like horrifyingly terrifying. But I don't know. It's fun to have more options for Starjammers because it's not a big keyword, but maybe hopefully we get more. I mean, I don't know who we don't have with it. I'm not familiar with the team, but yeah, just it's neat. And I don't know what X-Men would be accurate for her, but it would be fun to look it up.
Yeah.
I did actually for the casual episode we're gonna do on the podcast. I did go out of my way to make comic accurate teams specifically with Maggot, and that was a weird one because it just so happens that him and Cecilia Reyes joined in the same episode, and I think also what's her name? What's her name from the X-Force? 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna remember. But the point that 3 different characters joined that same issue. Marrow was the one. Not that her version here looks is great, but yeah, I did go out of my way to build comic accurate there, and I would probably try and figure out what Starjammers would be comic accurate for her and what X-Men seems fun.
Do you think Maggot is competitive? I mean, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would put him in. Definitely not number 1 in the set. I don't think. I think number 1 in the set would have to be. I don't know, but I feel like he's at least top 3. I mean, just for the points. I mean, you have. I mean, free action autonomous bystanders that he picks up in the same turn. Prob is good. His own offenses when he gets the food tokens are good. So, and also just in general, if you have free action after being carried pogs, you're probably reasonably good. So,
Yeah. Because you could carry him up and then sidestep him over if you need to, and then generate the pog and then poison somebody.
Yeah,
Or
especially because they're autonomous, and we talked about on the podcast, just Lila Cheney carrying 4 of them. Like you
Oh.
get 4 poisons or 4 pogs in general, and then that's only 185. So you still have a lot to play with there. So yeah, I would definitely say he might be number 2 in the set for me for competitive.
Wow, yeah, because he is not unique, so you could carry up to 4
Yeah,
of them.
I remember. Yeah, Adam Freeman was cold reading basic, and he's like, "Oh, I remembered it being unique and 65 points." And we're like, "You should look at it all." He's like, "Oh." It went from he was like, "This is very like not the best," and he was like, "Oh, never mind." So, yeah, probably number 2 for me, regardless of my own personal biases, because that is a very obscure character that I do not care about. But
And he has prob. That's cool too.
yeah, just having prob
Just having
for
prob.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So I mean, we took a look at House of X. Question. I mean, you've been around playing for a long time, right? When did you start playing?
Like I said, my first event was 2012 Galactic Guardian Sealed.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
I remember my exact team, and it was 400 points, but it was not great. But yeah, I mean, what was the question exactly? I don't think you got
Yeah.
to the
So
question yet.
yeah. I was. So my question is, what advice do you have for new players? Because, I mean, you're an experienced player. What advice would you have? And also, you've been a judge, so you're very well versed with JSAClix rulings and things like that. What would be your advice for new players learning the game, struggling with things like rules and reading the cards and playing without trying to make a mistake? Because when I first started playing, I remember I would play a game, and then like a day later I'd be like, wait, I didn't do this right, or I didn't do this right, and it could have changed the entire game. And it's because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what I was doing, for a very long time trying to play. What's your advice for new players?
Um, the first piece of advice I would give is that you're gonna have to come to terms with losing a lot to begin with. It's just a very complicated game, and figuring out just general tactics and positioning, and there's just a lot there. I mean, it's kind of chess with superheroes, right? And then I mean, when you play chess, there's a standard. You know what all the pieces do. Every game, like the game elements are the same, but this one, you have to know your own team and your opponent. So basically, but just you're gonna lose a lot to begin with. I mean, I don't know. The best way to learn seems to be people do just moving around the board and attacking, no powers, move on to standard powers, and then terrain. So, yeah, and also, I mean, I remember when I started learning, it was hard to remember all the pack stuff, but then as I started to play and remembering all just the standard powers, it's one of the harder games to learn, but it's definitely a process. And I mean, especially these days, I I was initially not as into the dials on the cards, but if you just don't want to do it, just don't look at the dials on the cards. But basically, it's helpful to know. It's helpful to have all that information at once, and I mean, don't be afraid to ask questions, because especially because other people could have the questions, and we also on Realms and the group, we don't like when people uh, lock threads after, just because people might have follow-up questions. But yeah, just don't be afraid to ask questions. Although I would request, if you're talking about a special power, you try and quote it, because it kind of feels um, like an etiquette thing, because if you're asking a rules question already, it doesn't feel great to make the person who's going to answer the question do research. Just ask questions, but try and quote the stuff in question. It's just it makes, I don't think anybody's gonna not answer the question because of it, because they have to look it up, but it's helpful.
Yeah.
So
No, I have noticed that it's proper etiquette to, if you're asking a rules question on a forum or on Discord or on Facebook, to quote the power that you're asking about, so that the person you're asking does not have to look it up.
Also, there's just times where it's very like you have no idea how they're talking about. They're like, if Phantom X does this, or how does and it's like I don't know what version you're talking about. I don't, you know, it makes everything more clear. So yeah, that's the number one thing. And
And also, I have to
just
say, um, a good set to start with for a lot of newer players is the Avengers Masters of Evil Battleground set, starter set. That's really good for learning if you're just starting out because it's very basic. They have a basic version and like kind of an advanced version of each dial. Like each figure comes with 2 cards, so the basic versions of those figures have like no special powers at all. It's just standard powers. And I know they're coming out with a DC version of
yeah,
that
the Wonder Woman one. I
in the
can't
Wonder
remember what
Woman set.
characters we've seen, but it did look interesting. And I think those, and also there was 4 maps in the, or 2 double-sided maps in the Avengers set.
Yeah, and the maps aren't bad. Those maps are pretty good.
Yeah. And also, I mean, some of the common dials in the set are just actually good. Like you buy the set and then a lot of them are not necessarily super competitive, but like they're reasonable. Like I would definitely play the Winter Soldier full dial in casual. And then there's also, I mean, the simple dial Captain America is just amazing.
Yeah,
Like starting with 18 energy shield and leadership for 25 points. It's just incredible. So yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't know what main set I could think of that would be that good. If WWE, because if WWE being close combat only is neat, but they also have their own powers. You don't want to throw that on people as well. But I mean, there's also generally going to be just commons. Like you can play the all common, all the Fantastic Four from that, from the recent set, and they're all reasonably simple. But
yeah.
yeah,
Actually, I think the comments from X-Men the Animated Series were not that bad actually. And the Fast Forces from that set too. I mean, the Fast Forces are always geared towards newer players.
yeah. I mean, if I think about the House of X one quickly, I mean, Wolverine has, I mean, trade itself, then he has charge, stop impervious. Like there's, it's pretty simple. I mean, Beast has a blank dial except for that one trade. Yeah, they're yeah. I mean, if for teaching a new player, you might want to start with only standard, but even then, there's like a Batman might have a dial with not much that's complicated, but the team ability. So yeah, it's if you have the right pieces, you should be able to ease into it and learn. So yeah, I think they're doing a better job now of trying to integrate helping new players get in. So
Yeah. Speaking of, you mentioned you were a DC guy. That you like Justice Society. You also like Exiles, which is Marvel, right? But if like let's say, I mean not counting Future Foundation and Wonder Woman, which are coming up. If you could pick a series or a comic book to base the next set on, what would you pick?
if it's a well, my actual idea is not based on a comic book specifically. My non-comic book specific based answer for both Marvel and DC would be the same, just Golden Age sets. Because there's a lot of characters that are. I mean, in DC 75th, we got like the first appearances of Batman from the original cover and Green Lantern and whatnot. So getting first appearance characters will be neat, and there's just a lot of weird stuff. Like Gold and Silver Age Superman would just literally make up powers as he goes. I don't actually, off the top of my head, I don't even know. Like Marvel events, pretty much all the ones that I've heard of, they've done. I mean, they did Secret Wars Battle World, but the original Secret Wars could be good. I wouldn't mind another Beyonder. For DC, probably just a Crisis set in general. You do all the different crises. There's a lot of iconic stuff from there. I mean, Infinite Crisis was great. We've gotten like some characters and references from that. Probably just.
Have they done Infinite Crisis yet, or no? They didn't.
They did. I mean, that's where we get Alexander Luthor from, who's like super pre-card, super like old card, probably from like Justice League or something. Um, the Lex Luthor Joker duo, I think, was a thing that happened more there, or at least the first time they were like together doing stuff. Superboy Prime, that was one of his big moments. Oh, and we got the Superman and Superman duo was Infinite Crisis. So not nothing, but not a lot. I guess we did get a Crisis set, but it was so long ago now. You could also do just another Lantern set for DC, and that'd be really popular. I mean, we get Superman, Wonder Woman sets. We got Flash.
They could do the Watchmen over again, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they could. I just am not a fan of current Dr. Manhattan because he literally destroyed the JSA and like moved like Green Lantern. Basically, he got the ring and had to save himself from death, but basically, I think he was gonna get run over by a train or something, and then Dr. Manhattan just like scooted the Lantern over a little bit. And I mean, Watchmen is cool. And the original Watchmen is obviously just an amazing, great comic. I mean, I know they would never do it, but there's just a lot of writers that do so many things. Like if you did a Mark Waid set, that would just be ludicrous, especially. And he also does play HeroClix, but
oh really?
Yeah, Gail Simone also. Or I don't know if he plays or used to collect, but I've heard that he does. And Gail Simone, if you look at her Twitter, she's WizKids' center HeroClix. They actually gave her the first reveal of the Double Date team of cards because that was an episode she wrote. But yeah, I guess probably Crisis again, or like Lanterns, or just a general. I mean, I don't know what you would call it, but like, because the thought of what character I would want to base a DC set off of, like Martian Manhunter, and just make it a general cosmic one. Like you could do, Martians, Thanagarians, Apocalypse and whatnot. So that would be cool. What did I say for Marvel? I can't remember what I said for Marvel, and then, I mean, another Hulk set, because the original Hulk set was weird because there was almost more street level stuff than Hulk. So
yeah,
I wouldn't mind another crack at a Hulk set.
Yeah, I mean maybe with the new She-Hulk that they just previewed, because they said it's going to be that it's going to have both Hulk and She-Hulk in the series. And have you seen the new Marvel Cinematic Universe preview that they came out with?
Oh, all the shows. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I've been looking forward to She-Hulk. I've been looking forward to Moon Knight. I can't remember. There's so many. Loki. I mean, they all just seem reasonably good. It'll be interesting to see because what U.S. Agent is in the Captain America Winter Soldier one, so that'll be an interesting thing to see.
Okay, that's cool.
I think so, but yeah, a lot of the shows look good.
We haven't had a U.S. Agent in a while.
Yeah, what was it? The Nick Fury set one? He was pretty reasonable, but yeah, there's just a lot of cool stuff there. Actually, if I think about it, for Immortal Hulk, or for Hulk, I don't know if you would do a full set called Immortal Hulk, but there's so much there. Like it's one of the better series they made in a while. There's just a lot of characters, and just a lot of characters that end up coming into the series, like Sasquatch for some reason, or Absorbing Man at one point. Just a lot of, and they did, I think this was an Immortal Hulk at one point. I don't know how recent the comic was, but I think they were setting up a fight of a Hulk and Thing, which is cool because there was that Hulk versus Thing from forever ago. But there's definitely a lot of options, and thankfully it seems like they're going less in the direction of the stereotypical, Avengers set and that sort of thing, where you just, another Avengers set, another, like, they still kind of do it. Like, we generally will have a Spider-Man set, but I think it's less blatant or less common. Yeah. Or at least from Marvel, we got Fantastic Four to at least get new stuff. But maybe it seems like they're going to get a regular rotation, or they're either making it for lost time, or maybe they're just trying to integrate them in the general rotation, but hard to say.
Yeah.
But I am excited about the Wonder Woman set.
Yeah.
So far, at least.
All three of the new House of X, which is coming up, and I mean, Future Foundation looks awesome. They have the Ultimate Nullifier, and they have like the Silver Surfer with the World War Hulk armor.
Yeah,
And,
that was another one we haven't gotten in. I don't even know how long. So yeah.
and then the surfboard as an equipment, which just looks really cool. And
Mm-hmm.
then the Wonder Woman set looks awesome too. So I'm excited for everything that's coming up. Looks really cool. Um, so Jay, final question for this interview. I just had I mean, I've been asking a lot of the guests this on Coffee and Clicks. Wanted to ask you, it's just kind of an introspective question. If you could write your own HeroClix bio, how would you describe yourself as a HeroClix player?
It's a good question. Like a full bio or just like point form? Because
If you could kind of be a fly on the wall, like
I mean,
observing yourself, what type of HeroClix
yeah,
player are you, or what you know?
yeah. I mean, I started playing just more for fun, and then I felt like when Toronto started having competitive players, it felt like everybody got in at once. So I started playing competitive, but then I kind of not retired, but kind of stopped playing as much when I started becoming okay. So casual to starting to be okay, competitive to judge. And now, I mean, I play as many events as I can, but it's just not frequent because I would have to, generally judge Ontario provincials and whatnot. So yeah, starting to judge just as competitive was a thing I was starting to get into,
Yeah, so
basically.
sounds like you've kind of evolved over time.
Yeah, it was weird here because the there was just a need for judges. Like my venue, our judge actually passed away a couple of years ago now, so there kind of needed to be more judging in the competitive events. So it was kind of not that there was no judges, but it kind of became more necessary. And then also recently, the other main Toronto judge actually moved to Ottawa, so especially, I mean, that was basically beginning of this year, end of last year, so we haven't felt it as much, but we just kind of needed judges here.
All right. So, Jay, thank you for joining me and the audience for another episode of Coffee and Clicks.
Yeah, thanks for being on, and maybe you could be on my show at some point if you're interested.
Yeah, I would absolutely love it. It'd be great. And um, you put out great content. I really enjoy JSAClix the podcast. If viewers watching Coffee and Clicks right now, don't forget to like and subscribe, but also subscribe to JSAclix Podcast with Jay Solomon and tune into his podcast as well.
Yeah, the only other thing is that we haven't started our Twitch games yet, but we're working on it. And I have been regularly streaming video games if that's something people are into.
Cool. Yeah. What video games like just
So
any?
far, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Batman Arkham series. I did the full. I mean, I started a little bit into the file. I already had a file going, but basically the Arkham Knight full story. I'm almost done Arkham City. Going to do Arkham Asylum, and then because Arkham Origins is over Christmas, I think I'm going to try and play through the whole game on Christmas Eve, just because people are probably not watching on Christmas Day. And then some Fallout, did New Vegas and Skyrim, so the Bethesda, um, well-known RPGs. But I'm always willing to take suggestions, as well as both Spider-Man games when I get a PS5. But that is probably going to be later than sooner.
Speaking of Christmas Eve and Wonder Woman, the movie is coming out on HBO Max. I don't know if you have heard about that. The Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. I have to dedicate that day to making sure I can watch. I mean, I'm gonna do both movies. And we only just found out that because we don't have HBO Max in Canada for some reason, but they only just this past week put out like a press release or whatever that I can't remember how, but Canadians will be able to watch it outside of going into a theater.
Mhm.
or I think it was like on demand or whatever, something like that. But yeah, that's something I'm watching the day of, because I mean, as it is, Jews watch movies on Christmas for some reason, and then that's yes, that's going to be my Christmas day probably.
Okay. Cool. All right. So again, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jay. Um, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will hopefully stay tuned for more content from Coffee and Clicks. Don't forget to sign up for both of our tournaments, for Jay's tournament for suicide prevention and for my tournament for epilepsy research. You can find it on both of our Facebook pages for more information. And don't forget, wake up and smell the clicks. Thanks, everybody.